Abby and I work at Huffpost, and today we wanted to talk to you about designing your dream app, one that hopefully will change the world. So a little bit about us. My name is Christine. I'm the senior editor of growth and emerging platforms at Huffpost. And what this means is I work on our audience development team, specifically focusing on emerging platforms like messaging apps, voice devices like anyone own an Amazon Alexa or Google Home? So thinking about how we reach new audiences on those platforms and put HuffPost content there.
I'm Abby. I am an associate editor of news and emerging platforms with HuffPost, and I work with Christine on the audience development team. And we have something we call the labs team that I am on, where we do experiments every month, every other month with different types of content, different platforms, seeing what we can learn from new practices, engaging with the audiences that we have on a deeper level, and trying to reach new audiences that we don't have currently. So it's a really cool job. We enjoy it.
Yeah, it's no day is the same, which is fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
One thing we wanted to show you is just some of the projects that we've worked on recently to give you kind of an idea of the things that we do.
So this one on the right is something we call the Tea. It is a celebrity newsletter that comes directly to your email, and it has content from exclusive interviews that we do with celebrities. So we have interviewed Vanessa Hudgens. We've interviewed a star from 13 Reasons Why. We've done some content with Musical.ly stars and influencers. So it's been a lot of fun. And we create these emails that come directly to you and can connect you with the stars that you admire.
Yeah, and that was an example of we took a couple of months and decided that we really wanted to create content that speaks to you guys. So that was kind of an example of one of the things that we did for that. Another example of something that we've worked on is a chatbot. Do any of you guys use chatbots at all or know what it is, what they are? You've made one. Amazing. Yeah. They're tough platforms to manage. But what we did right around the inauguration is we created a bot that would send news alerts on Trump's administration, specifically about how his policies and decisions were impacting specific communities. So if you were a woman or if you were interested in women's issues, you could sign up to get alerts on the different decisions and policies coming out of that administration and how they would impact you. And we do a lot of different things in that realm, like I said, with voice platforms. So it's a lot of innovation, which is great. But today specifically, we wanted to talk about mobile apps, which is another thing that we think about a lot at HuffPost. There's a huge opportunity with mobile apps. 2.8 billion people across the globe own a smartphone, so it's a great way to connect with a large audience immediately. And people are spending a ton of time on their phones. What's the first thing you guys do when you wake up in the morning? Check your phone.
Check your phone.
Yeah, me too. So there's definitely something to be said for that. It's taking up a huge amount of time in people's lives. So again, it's a really useful platform, especially for social issues. Selena Gomez talking about how important mobile is. So one thing we wanted to talk about are some apps that are making a difference in the social justice arena. One app that I thought was really cool is it's called Food Cloud. It's out of Ireland, and basically it's a startup that connects restaurants and businesses that have excess food with charities for people in need. So it's a really cool example of an app that's targeting the food waste issue. The flip side is something that is kind of near and dear to HuffPost's heart. Basically, we noticed that there are a lot of topics that are dominating the news cycle, like immigration, climate change, everything that's been going on in Russia. And we noticed that they were being covered in wildly different ways. I'm sure you guys have heard the term fake news kind of thrown around. And so what we wanted to do was take these tentpole issues and highlight how news organizations are covering them and how they're covering them from different angles. And that was really aimed at improving news literacy and keeping our audience informed. So we bring up these two examples because today we really wanted you guys to think about some of the social issues that are important to you and how mobile can help change that.
So for the next 15 minutes, we have set you guys up in little semicircles. This is going to be your pod of people that you're going to work with. We want you to think of some social issues that are important to you, that you're passionate about, and a way that a mobile app could solve that issue or help alleviate that problem in some way. So we want you to think of those social issues, think of the app that you want to build, and then every element that you would need in that app to make a difference. So go for it.
Yeah, you can pass this mic around. It's not going to play through that. I just want to pick up the audio from you guys. If that's all right. You can just pass it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So the idea that I have is that, oh gosh, okay. So the idea that I have is actually something that I'm in the process of developing right now. And so what it is a volunteer coordinating app that it basically takes away the job of a it kind of helps to condense the job of a volunteer coordinator and actually makes finding volunteering opportunities easier. And it also makes getting the volunteers easier on the actual volunteer coordinators. And so that actually solves a huge gap in how people, so it would basically be a Google search engine, or how you could, do you guys know how for there's food sites that you basically can input, this is the type of food I want, this is how far away I want it to be. It would be the same thing, but for volunteering opportunities. And what would happen is you would send your volunteering information to the volunteer coordinator, they would respond back, and then this app would keep a concise list of all of the volunteer coordinator contact information for the volunteer, as well as keep the volunteer information for the volunteer coordinator. Does that make sense? Yes, and so this basically, but what it does is, so this addresses an issue that a lot of times, especially in college, you find a shortage of volunteers, or you don't know if volunteers are showing up. That's also a huge problem that happens consistently across the board in volunteering. So what this app is actually going to hopefully then be designed to do is, there's two ways that you can volunteer. You can volunteer as an individual through this app, or you could do something that's called a gift exchange, where your organization volunteers to volunteer for another organization as a group, and then vice versa. So 5 people from one organization go and volunteer at another organization's event, and then that organization will send 5 people to that organization's event. Does that make sense to you guys? And also in doing that, you can kind of better design your ideal volunteering experience. And it also makes it more accessible. It would be something that you could use throughout the country. You could track your volunteering hours on the app, so it would solve that problem of a lot of times people are doing it on scratch pieces of paper, typing it into a Word document, but it would organize it for you. And companies could then, some companies require that you volunteer, so then you could also do something like that where companies can track their employees' volunteer hours.
Another idea, so I don't know if you guys know the Skim. It's they're basically send out daily emails informing you about different issues in the news, social things, etc. So they recently just launched their kind of connection with Google Calendars, I think, where they send you little you add their calendars through their app to your phones as well. A lot of people have calendars on the phone that they keep track of all their activities. So they just send you little notifications about what's happening on this date. They add it to your calendar. Maybe with that app, you could add, oh, this organization is having a volunteer opportunity on this date. Maybe you have the option to add it to your calendar. Just maybe follow an organization through the app, and it adds their separate activities to your calendar.
That's definitely one thing I would love to implement. In addition, we can even do it on the flip side, where you can import your own calendar, and then the search engine would automatically filter out the times and dates that you can't do, so that you can look at ones that you can. So yeah, does anyone else have any ideas that would make this app more helpful? Because this is actually something I'm in the process of launching. So that's why. Feedback would be... Sure. Yeah, feedback would be wonderful. Just pass it around. It's not supposed to... Yeah, it's for that.
No, you gotta go first.
So the app is called iVolunteer actually, and it's coming soon to at least the internet. I'm having someone make the website. It's gonna be called iVolunteer or something of that sort.
Or volunteer or something.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one.
What is it? Okay.
Like
I mean, unless it's for like
It's
a
really
lot of, it's
for
like an age
anyone,
range.
but it honestly is probably going to be more oriented towards like college and teenagers, because it makes it easier to find volunteering opportunities. So yeah,
Would the app would the app be just like for a certain state or like location?
so what it would be is that you could Google volunteer opportunities in a certain mile radius. So companies could upload their own volunteering opportunities and pay a certain fee to have theirs at the top of the search engine. But it would be hopefully throughout the entire country. And there's actually nothing that exists like this throughout the country. Isn't that kind of weird? And there's no really one-stop place to kind of organize volunteering opportunities. So that's where the app kind of comes in and bridges that gap. So then you could download the app, and then wherever you go, say you're staying for a week in a different state, and your friend's like, oh, I want to find a volunteering opportunity that we can do real quick because I got to finish my hours for Key Club or whatever organization you're a part of. You can literally just input the information of where you are. Part of the app that is long run is that you turn on the GPS tracker on your phone, and the app actually tracks whether or not you're within the location of the volunteering thing, and actually tracks whether or not you show up. Yeah. Yeah, and I've been looking to figure out like a give back component, and the give back component I want to do is like the individual that has the most volunteer hours gets to donate a certain amount of money to the volunteering organization of their choice, and then the volunteering organization that has the most members that volunteer for them also then gets to get money given back to their organization. So, yeah.
It's going to be like having a profile for these volunteers so that the coordinator has like the ability to pick and choose, because you don't want like everybody showing up to your volunteer event, obviously. And so it'll be like, have you ever heard of like my volunteer page? It's similar to this, but it's like an individual. So like I'm a volunteer at my local zoo, and so when I work there, I sign up for shifts on it, and then it tracks my hours on there. But it's only for them, so it's only one company. You can't have like, you don't see multiple companies, so it's a little different then.
That's a good idea. So like my whole thing would then be like you create like a volunteer page, and you can throw up your resume on there, and so when you are interested in an event, you click on it, it contacts the volunteer coordinator for you, and then kind of gets out all that information put through. Once you're accepted, you get a message, and then you show up on the date and time, turn on your location services, and then that'll track your hours and stuff for the volunteer coordinator. And then it will make a concise list of all the events that you attend, and then as well as like if you need a letter of recommendation or something like that, you have quick access to figuring out how you can contact the person that was volunteering, like coordinating that volunteer event.
This is maybe a little bit more advanced than what you're at work right now, but yeah, 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 yeah.
like just format the website so that it's mobile, so you can make it into an app.
So maybe like in the future, just to like get more to connect more people to different organizations, maybe create like tags of different that relate to each like different volunteer opportunity that and then people can search up like these different tags and find things that would like interest them, they would like be able to choose different things.
What I definitely want to implement is like the first things first is you go through and you pick out all these different things. So if you know you don't like volunteer service where there's kids involved, you can check out like not working with children, or you can click working with children. You can, age groups. If you have certain ability limits and stuff like that, like if you can't lift over a certain weight, if you have certain allergies that you can't be around certain things, those are all things you would go through and check off. And then you could also, it's okay, you can also check off like the hours of interest. So like say you want 6 hours worth of volunteering, something like that. You can also, I guess, like, I would love to find a way to like connect people so that you could see where everyone else is volunteering and stuff like that. But I feel like that might be like a security thing. I just don't know. Maybe like, I don't know. Maybe that could be like. Yeah, that's what I was thinking with Snapchat.
With me, and if you're interested at all in the program, I have an iPad where you guys can write your name and email address, and I will pass it around. If you're interested in it, you can sign up, and I'll be in touch with all the details.
And thank you guys. Your ideas were amazing. This is really exciting. So thanks for coming. Great.
For the community photo challenge, if you guys should participate in it too. Here, I'm gonna do stuff here. It's gonna be a whole thing. Everybody should participate in the community photo challenge. We want everyone to use the Girl Up community more. So just post any pictures from the day in the community. Okay, ready?
You're taking like a
like a huge one.
Love it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the Oscars. Yeah, I want to be at. Yeah. Okay, I'll get on this chair. Yeah, probably. Okay. Oh no, I'm like way too tall. Ready? Go. Okay. Yay. Yeah, I will. It's on TV. It'll be in the community too, guys. So you can find it there. It's not. I don't know how to use it. Add in the app. When you scroll down, you'll see the